Hey everybody, welcome to version 13, show 13 here at the Quarantine Cafe.
Lucky 13.
Lucky 13, actually is my family's lucky number. So we're happy to be here for number 13. Happy to share this with any of you guys out there. Thank you again for the love. Need to give a special thanks to Facebook for somehow picking the most marvelous screen grabs of the previous episode. I don't know if somebody just heard me talking smack about Zuckerberg in here, but it's like, oh, he's speaking ill of dear leader. Make him look like Augustus Gloop in the previous one. So thanks for that. So we're gonna.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. We're working our way through the pantry. Still off of our recent grocery store run. The idea behind this, we're going to do kind of a goof on linguine with clams. Not trying to buy up more pasta than we already have, or take away from people who may need it. So spaghetti is what we're going to be using. The idea that we were originally going to do this with was to do it with canned clams, since that's something that can be kept in your pantry. And I had every intention of doing that until I walked by the seafood counter, which no one is still really visiting, and they had some fresh clams. So I said, you know what, we're going to use it pretty soon. Let's go ahead and get it going. So we've got our water boiling in the back. I'm not going to season this too much, probably about 2 or 3 tablespoons of salt for a gallon of water, because these clams are naturally very briny and very salty, so I want to be able to control that as much as possible and taste it on the final sauce.
So if you were to use canned clams, because if other people can't get the fresh kind,
Yeah.
like how many cans or whatever
I'd
would
say
you need?
if you're serving 4 people, maybe 2 of the 10-ounce cans would be good. If you do happen to get your hands on the fresh ones, these are little necks. About 10 to 12 clams per person.
Yes, clams. I was really surprised when I came back from the grocery store with clams, like actual clams, because we had this whole idea.
Well, yeah, that again kind of speaks to the idea of not having a hardcore plan and just being able to, in these times, let what's available kind of dictate what you can make. You know, with every intention of, okay, I wanted to show off some canned seafood for you guys, since as the guidelines say, we shouldn't be out that much. So keeping some non-perishables and something that can, even as in its own unique form, still turn into a good dish, not just like we're eating straight clams, as it were. So I got a pretty hefty amount of olive oil going in there. And then I've got some sliced garlic, and a lot of it.
Why sliced versus diced or any of the other ways you prepare?
So again, you could do this whole, and you could infuse the oil in there. I kind of, the way I like to eat when I'm sopping stuff up with bread, as we will be doing with this, is I think the slice kind of works the best for it. It's not that aggressive of a garlic flavor. And as it becomes the sauce, you run a little bit less of a risk of it burning on you. I'm also going to add a pretty decent amount of crushed red chilies.
Very nice. Getting a lot of use out of that.
Yeah, and really this is kind of the main base of the sauce. I mean, really everything we have out in front of us here. More olive oil, white wine, a lot of fresh parsley, some butter just to finish the sauce, and our clams. The clams, if you are using fresh, you're going to need to purge them, because the way most the clams eat, when they're down at the bottom of the surface, they will intake sand, grit, things like that. So just cover them with cold water. You don't need to do the cornmeal thing. You don't need to do the salt trick. Just straight cold water, and they'll kind of belch up all the sand and grit that'll be stuck in the bottom. And then you'll just kind of scrub them clean.
If you were to mince the garlic, I have a question.
Yes.
Would that make a huge difference?
Not terribly. You just need to monitor it a little bit more and really be ready to go with everything.
Awesome.
I mean, there are so many different ways to do this recipe. This is just the way that I like it.
Okay. And we've got your Aunt Carla is watching today,
Carla.
and Dean is back, Krista Miller, and your sister-in-law, Krista Green.
Hey, everybody.
Krista Miller wants to know, what are the best wines to cook with? Any rules?
So the main one is don't cook with anything you wouldn't be comfortable drinking. I think we've kind of collectively gotten away from the idea of cooking wine, the stuff that you can buy in the center aisle next to the vinegars and the oils. With something like this, I usually like to cook with something that's leaner and that has a little more acidity to it. So Sauvignon Blanc is something we're going to use. It's just something that's crisp and clean. You'll see Chablis can be a decent one. If you're using red, just kind of depends on how heady you want the final product to be. I've seen anything from as lean as a Pinot Noir to as bulky as Cabernet, and all things in between.
Very cool. And this particular wine we got in our curbside delivery from Three Parks Wine, so highly recommend this. They were doing a 6 for $60 special, and this was one of the bottles that we chose. We actually got 2 of them, per Sarah Pierre's suggestion. So cooking with it.
Yeah, it's not. It's nice to. We're gonna be drinking with it too. So
that's right.
Not
put it straight in the fridge.
Getting sacrificed. So definitely looking for this to get just a little bit toasted around the edges. Not looking for it to burn. I'll keep saying this. Nothing will mess up the flavor of what you're doing more irreparably than burned garlic. But clams are going in. And then with the clams, which are going to release some of their brine, their liquor, I'm going to go in with the wine. This will stop the cooking process on the garlic. And then give the clams some kind of a liquid to help them steam open. And this will also become some of the basis of our sauce. And so really, that's, I'm hoping the little burner that could will do its thing. If this thing can get appropriately hot, I've got a lid over here to cover this. And we'll kind of work it to where the pasta, which I'm going to move around right now, if you're looking for al dente on a strand pasta, which we definitely are, actually looking for a little bit shy of al dente, for a full al dente, about 9 minutes is kind of the magic number. If you start off with a full boil, which you should.
Hello to Miss Patty Davis.
Hey, Patty.
Sharon Park is back, and Leslie Ibser is watching.
Thanks, y'all.
We've got some
so what's
action going there.
Leave this in the comments. What's everybody watching out there? We just finished binging Tiger King the other day, and we need some more stuff to watch. There's really nothing that's too out there, I don't think, for us.
Oh my God, Tiger King was insane. Do we think that he did it? Do we think that Joe Exotic actually tried to do murder for hire?
I don't know, but I do know that whoever wrote that show had to be looking through, like you go to the Walmart or the mall and they have like the crappy 1-hour glamour shots. And you find the worst one in Natchez, Mississippi at the Walmart you ever saw and then give it to the head writer for Criminal Minds. They couldn't even come up with something that good.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. Some people couldn't handle Tiger King. Some people had to peace out after an episode or two. Oh, Chris Miller thinks Carol did it.
Ah, of course. They're all cult leaders.
Very cool. Oh, Chris, and the other Chris says, I want to watch that. Don't spoil it.
You know what?
There's no spoiling it.
It doesn't matter. It's true. It's in the news. You could read all of that, and it still wouldn't spoil it because to see, you couldn't dream up this cast of characters. It is beyond the pale.
Oh man, Chris Miller is suggesting Schitt's Creek. We tried to watch it. I know everybody loves that show, but
if it gets going past a few episodes, let me just say I will worship at the comedy altar of Eugene Levy. Anything he did with Christopher Guest was just dynamite. So I get the humor. It just wasn't for me as much. So with this, I'm going to do a little bit of a daily double for you guys. Since we're doing pasta with clam sauce while everything's cooking so we don't have just total dead air, you got to have some garlic bread to kind of go with this. So done kind of taking our baguette, or you use Italian bread, anything that you find at the grocery store in the baker's section. And so remember the garlic paste that we did yesterday, for those of you who watched it, and we were doing our... the hell did we make the zucchini yesterday?
Zucchini, that's right.
The really fine garlic paste. Take some of that and mix it with butter and garlic powder and put it in the microwave. The heat from the microwave for about 1 minute will soften the bite of that raw garlic, and then mix it in with just solid butter. It'll kind of become a paste that will taste nice and garlicky. This is some bread that's just been toasting first.
Let's put it in the oven for just a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little more involved than some garlic. I mean, honestly, if you just brushed it with oil and then as soon as it came out of toasted it as soon as it came out of the hot oven, and you just kind of rubbed it bruschetta style with a little bit of raw garlic, that wouldn't suck either.
I bet focaccia would be great with this too.
Yeah, and that's going to be one of those things to where, what was that thing that you said that everybody in this age is, what, a gamer or a baker?
That's right.
So I'm staring at, we're lucky enough to have yeast in our pantry, and I'm already staring, like, all right, so brioche is going to happen in the next day or two for sure. There's no reason that focaccia couldn't happen because it's probably the easiest bread to make at home.
Well, maybe we'll have to do that on an upcoming episode.
Maybe. And then you stand there and stare at me while we watch it proof for hours.
Hey, people are captive right now.
That's literally, they are. They are captive to their homes. So let's kind of see where we are in the course of all this coming together.
Now, I noticed that you have some pretty good-looking olive oil here.
I do,
Obviously, we're not using that to cook with, right?
No, that's going to be our finishing oil.
Okay, this stuff is the good stuff.
So you want something with a little bit higher fat content. We're going to add some butter to it as well. But just, if you have a good olive oil, that'll be a good one to finish with. If not, just whatever you're normally cooking with is fine. So about a third to half of our clams are opening up. Our pasta is getting pretty close. Give it a little taste here.
Cool. And yes, technically, Krista, my sister, and I did do glamour shots, but they weren't real glamour shots. Like, I didn't do one anyways. I think she might have.
Did you have a side ponytail?
I did not have a side pony, no. But we knew someone that worked at the photo something at the mall, and so we got some really cool shots for Christmas cards. So
I'm just saying, it's not too late to recreate things. If you want to have a mulligan and do the side ponytail on this next one, I'll buy them all up. Okay,
awesome. Well, that's when we get out of here. We'll do a glamour shot. We'll set up our own studio here.
Oh my god, that'd be tremendous.
All right, now we got some clams steaming. They're opening up.
They are opening up.
What happens when they don't open up? Because I've had that happen before.
When they don't open up, it means they're dead and you should discard them.
Okay, good to know.
And so even before then, if you see a lot that have chipped or broken shells. If they're open, so number one, when you have a human who is kind of pulling them out of the seafood section for you, make sure that you specify, hey, none that are open, none that are broken, so you don't take them home and you don't pay for them. But beyond that, if after a while they're not opening up for you, they have not survived.
Cool.
And another thing was when they shipped them, and we had to kind of correct this when we got home. And I get the idea when you pack them. They wanted to keep a pretty easy transport. Sometimes people will put their fish or shellfish on ice. When at our counter, they stuck them in the little styrofoam tray and wrapped them in plastic.
Like it was meat.
Right, like it was meat or like it was a piece of salmon. But when you're dealing with shellfish like this or bivalves, they're alive. And so when you do that to them, it suffocates them. So maybe, as soon as we got home, I ripped the package open.
Yeah. So also we had a request for someone, what are some ideas to use leeks with? A lot of people are getting these really cool fresh produce boxes like Misfit Market and Bagged and Fresh Harvest Georgia, which we're on the wait list for. So leeks came in the mail. What to do? So
I would say two things. Number one, I think that leeks are excellent in soup, especially this time of year. If you get things like young potatoes or... they also take to cream very well. So they make a great aromatic base for a soup. But then if you had enough of them, I know from our side we were looking at the meat section at Publix. There's a lot of steak available. If that's within your means and you can do that, cook up a steak with some creamed leeks. Just sweat them down. If you want to add any other aromatics, if you want to add garlic, if you want to add an herb, just let those soften up. If you wanted to deglaze with a touch of booze, whatever that may be, white wine or something, you could leave that part out if you wanted, and then some heavy cream, let it cook down until it's nice and thick, would be a great accompaniment for steak, chicken, pork chops, anything like that.
Oh my gosh, it smells so good in here.
It does, and the burner, I just got to show you the full on, the $10 Walmart special, because somebody asked,
right.
what brand of burner are you using? Nothing worth writing home about, really.
That's right. This is for Jeffrey's on the road, like farmer's market demos and stuff that he would do. He'd just throw this burner in the back of the seat of the car and get to town.
Exactly. So,
steam it.
Yeah. I'm going to try and finish some of this together If we need to go to the stovetop, to the actual stove, we will. I'm going straight into the pasta because some of the water, if we feel like we need to, that can kind of act as our sauce.
It's that pasta water.
That's right. It's starchy. It's seasoned.
Notice we did not wash off the noodles. They're going straight out of the pot.
That's right.
Oh my god, I love pasta.
So everybody in. Move this to the back just in case we need some pasta water.
Oh, we also got, you were able to score a chicken at the grocery store. So Lee, who's on watching right now, she makes an amazing roast chicken. We'll have to get some tips from her.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean that's one of those where I was hoping for thighs, and then was kind of anticipating. All right, well I could probably get thighs out of this, and then it comes along. Oh, I can get a whole one too. So just another good excuse to introduce some more veggies or things we ordinarily wouldn't have.
Trying to eat a little healthy. This isn't super healthy, but it is tasty.
No, but it's rainy. It's nasty outside. Kind of want some comfort food.
We were so good yesterday, so.
We were salmon and a bunch of fresh veggies. So I'm gonna add in a lot of parsley. That's about half a bunch.
Oh, this is looking so good.
So you can see, kind of like we did yesterday, I don't chop my parsley up very much. If we're gonna use it, it's not just. I think I'd like to hope that, as a culinary society, we've gone beyond the point of just adding things for color, that we want to use them for flavor. And so, as a result of that, leave it in big pieces. If you want to just grab it off the bunch and just tear it once or twice in your hands, that's what most of the Italian grannies do. So, really trying to get everything kind of tossed and absorbed. You can see most of our clams are at least having a fighting chance of opening up here.
That's right, open up.
Open up.
I've actually had I didn't realize they were bad clams. I would try to kind of open them myself, like with utensils if I got them in a dish.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
I mean, if they're starting to, not everyone is just going to go, bah! But, if you see it, don't go on a search and rescue mission to try and open it up.
Good to know. You know who makes amazing clams? Lauren Stone. She does a great job.
That's right.
She's not on Facebook, but shout out to Lauren Stone since we're doing clams.
I'm going to give this a taste just to see where our salt level is. What it does need is it's going to need, to turn the heat off of that,
Oof.
is a little bit of pasta water.
So why did you decide it needed pasta water?
Because it was going very dry. What we're doing, so you want some of that sauce, right? You want something to kind of sop up with our garlic bread.
Yeah.
And if it's all absorbed into the pasta, which it's good if some of it does absorb, but you want some of that kind of residual condiment there as a liquid to kind of add to the
liquid,
the sopping experience. And then from here, adding cold butter to it is also going to help create that emulsion, that creamy sauce that we want.
Yum, yum, yum.
So just mix that around.
Another one pot wonder.
Yeah,
actually technically two with the pasta.
Yeah. Close enough.
Close enough.
Close enough. I feel like if you're cooking, just having to boil pasta or boil rice or something, it's close enough to a one pan wonder. So let the butter melt around. This would be a good time to just kind of hit it with a pretty decent amount of our. We're using Georgia olive oil. Any finishing oil olive oil you have is great. Like I said, if you don't worry about it. Just do the best you can, because that's what we're all doing right now.
And would you drink the same wine with it that you used in the sauce?
Absolutely.
Ooh, yum, yum, yum.
Yeah. A few clams.
There weren't a lot of ingredients in this dish either.
No, this is all, as I said, aside from the clams, then I'm just going to consider for our purposes parsley to be a pantry ingredient, because we buy enough of it to where it kind of becomes, same with garlic, I mean, it kind of becomes part of.
Could you use dried parsley if you're desperate?
No.
No. Okay.
No. You should use dried parsley for nothing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing. Never keep it on hand. Arts and crafts projects maybe, but that's really it. I'm gonna pull our garlic bread out of the oven and let it cool to slice it up. Thank you so much for joining us again for number 13. We'll be back for most of the week. Any questions, leave them in the comments section, and I will get back to them later today. Thanks, guys. Stay safe before I stumble over that one. Stay indoors, stay off the belt line, and wash your hands. See you guys.